Hello beautiful people, happy Tuesday and welcome to your astrological forecast for this week. It is coming up a little bit later than usual because yesterday we experienced the full moon in Aquarius, which actually in fact was a supermoon, and there is definitely a lot to integrate post this lunation, and I'm just going to be naming the aspects that are going to be becoming exact from now until the end of the week, and we take it from there. But as I mentioned, this is actually all just an integration of this energy because this was definitely a super moon and we all feel it, I'm sure. So I would like to first and foremost open this space and call in on my higher self, my spirit guides, our ancestors, the angels, and beings of light that wish to be present for recording of this video and for messages to come through that will serve everybody's highest good and support us on our evolutionary journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you everybody for being here and supporting my work. If you do enjoy my content, please do like, subscribe, and if you feel that somebody else would benefit, do share, do feel free to share. And yeah, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So this is an astrological forecast, so I am going to be using a lot of astrological jargon. I also released my practical applications of astrology, which actually I just released a few days ago, so that is out there on my YouTube channel, but this one usually goes quite deep into the astrology, but actually in this video, because there is not that much to talk about other than what was already said, because if you do follow my work, you are aware that I published 3 videos about this full moon in Aquarius. 2 of those were collaborations with my friends who offer their own unique perception of these energies. So I'm actually probably going to most focus on the messages that will be coming from the cards, because I don't know how much more there is to add that we haven't said already. So anyway, today being Tuesday, as we know, yesterday we experienced the full moon in Aquarius and there was a lot going on. Let me just name it all for you. So yesterday we had the Sun conjunct Mercury, Venus square to Jupiter, Venus opposed Saturn, Sun also square Uranus, and as we know, Uranus was actually squaring the moon. We had 2 T-squares in the sky yesterday, and then after the full moon climaxed, we can say, Jupiter made the exact square to Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and subsequently last night or early on this morning, depending where you are in the world, moon moved into the sign of Pisces, which is all about the release, culmination, and letting go of that which became illuminated to us, and we realized that, okay, well, this is not necessarily what I want to be dragging with me into this Aquarian age, right? Into this future that we are co-creating in the present moment, because all we ever have is just the present moment anyway. Even though, as we know, also everything is happening at the same time, the past, present, and future. So, okay, so today is Tuesday. Today, actually, Sun is conjuncting Sun is conjuncting Vesta, yes, that's right, in the sign of Leo, and also Mercury is squaring Pallas. Then tomorrow, Wednesday, just Moon is doing his thing. Moon is, her thing, sorry. I do apologize, Moon. Moon is conjuncting Saturn tomorrow, squaring Jupiter, opposing Venus, squaring Mars, sextiling Uranus, and then at the end conjuncting Neptune prior to moving into Aries. This is going to be taking place on Wednesday night. Moon will move into the sign of Aries, which is interesting because Wednesday night, Thursday morning, depending where you are in the world. So it's happening on Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And then subsequently Sun on Thursday the 22nd, August the 22nd, Sun is going to move into the sign of Virgo, which will mark the beginning of Virgo season. And this is under the influence of Moon being in the sign of Aries, right after Moon made a conjunction to North Node in Aries. Isn't that interesting that we just had this massive they say blue moon, super moon, massive blue moon, super moon, whatever you call it. It was a very impactful moon in Aquarius, full moon, which means illumination, opposition. So this is the midpoint since the conjunction that took place during the time of the new moon, and in this case that was February 9th. And the cycle will end when they will have their next conjunction, the next new moon in Aquarius, which will be in 2025, February, I believe. So anyway, guys, so we have Moon in the sign of Aries on Thursday the 22nd, and Sun is moving into the sign of Virgo. So there will be definitely a new ways of putting that which we became aware of through this illumination, that will be putting that into practice, because Sun in Virgo is all about practicality, and as I keep saying all the time, to me Virgo is the perfect archetype that represents our hero's journey as a soul incarnate into the physical form. We go through life, we learn, we adjust, we fall, we stand up, we try again, and through all of that we accumulate tools, we accumulate experiences, and then at the end of our journey through this incarnation in this particular physical body, we have a bunch of experiences and wisdom and all the rest of it. That is Virgo, as far as I'm concerned, leading to Capricorn, self-mastery. So we are entering into Virgo season, which is all about that. It's all about growing, learning, adjusting, humbling ourselves. Well, we might have realized that perhaps, the ego was too much in charge and we actually don't know everything. And there are certain things that need to change with regards to how we not interfere, but how we interact is the correct word, interact with the external world, with the reality that we are experiencing. Okay, right after that, the first aspect that's going to take place after Sun had moved into the sign of Virgo will be Venus making a square to Mars, and this will be taking place on Friday, I believe, for majority of us, unless you are, I think, maybe Mountain and Pacific, definitely Pacific time zone, will be experiencing this still on Thursday night right before midnight. But for majority of us, this will be happening on Friday the 23rd. Venus, as the ruler of the South Node that just had an opposition with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, right, and was a participant of this T-square, which actually is still active if we want to be honest. This Venus is making a square to Mars, and this is an exact square. Yeah, of course, it is still active because the square is taking place. This is the first square since the conjunction in the sign of Aquarius that took place on February 22nd. And that was right before Mars conjuncted Pluto for the first time in Aquarius, Venus conjuncted Pluto for the first time in Aquarius, but this is actually the second time that they conjuncted in the sign of Aquarius this year, 2024, because they already had a conjunction in Aquarius in 2022. Anyway, this is the first quarter square, which means crisis in action. What does this mean? Well, Venus is in the sign of Virgo, and now Sun is in the sign of Virgo. That's going to be illuminated, this process of how are we learning and adjusting, right? Practical application. And Mars, as the ruler of the North Node, is in the sign of Gemini, which is all about interacting with reality in a different way, because we think about it differently, we identify it differently, we process the information differently. And Venus is just going to say, okay, well, we have to put it in practical application, because there are these things we need to evolve with regards to South Node. You know how previously we allowed other people to think for us and to tell us what to do, and we did that, right? Well, that didn't work very well. Well, I mean, okay, it did work for a certain period of time, but it's not working for us anymore now, because it got us to the point where we are, which is saying that, okay, it's time to break free. We just had this full moon in Aquarius that is saying that, the sovereignty is absolutely there, but it requires certain adjustments with regards to how we are interacting with the world around us to embody it fully, because it's our birthright, right? Sovereignty. So, okay. The other interesting thing, on Friday the 23rd, so we have this Venus square to Mars, right? Mars is ruled by Mercury, obviously, because Mars is in the sign of Gemini, and Mars just had a conjunction with Jupiter a week ago on Wednesday. So this Mercury that rules both Jupiter and Mars, and now Mars being in a new phase conjunction with Jupiter, which is this new cycle that had begun, that is telling us about, okay, we need to expand this consciousness that we are using to perceive this world around us. So this Mercury on the same day, on Friday the 23rd, is making a trine to Chiron. Mercury, of course, is still retrograde for another few days. Mercury will station, well, for another week almost. Mercury will station direct the following week on the 28th, 29th, I believe. So Mercury is making a trine to Chiron. Now, isn't this interesting? Mercury is the ruler of Mars. Mars is the ruler of Chiron. And on the same day, we have Venus as the ruler of the South Node, also ruled by Mercury, by the way, because Venus is in the sign of Virgo. So now everybody is ruled by Virgo. Mercury, including the Sun. And Venus and Mars, both ruled by Mercury, are squaring each other. And on the same day, Mercury retrograde in Leo, ruled by Sun, that is ruled by Mercury, is making a trine to Chiron for the second time, right? Because we know this Chiron and Mercury, they have a little bit of a thing going on there, because they had free conjunction in Aries season, whilst Mercury was last time retrograde before this time. And now they have in three trines. Isn't that interesting, right? So Mercury first time trine Chiron on the 18th of July, which was when? Right before the full moon in Capricorn number 2, 29-degree Capricorn, that one. And now we have in another trine. So at the time Mercury was direct. That was before his retrograde. Now Mercury is retrograde. It's already been to Virgo, come back to Leo. Now it's in the Leo. They will go back to Virgo on 9-9 portal. So this Mercury is now, reassessing like this Leo archetype, this Leo dynamics, which is this heart-centered consciousness. Like, okay, what does this mean? Heart-centered consciousness. What does this mean to experience reality in this way? Nobody showed us. Nobody taught us. We were born, most of us, into environments, families, educational system, which say, no, you need to be clever. You need to use your mind. Who cares about how you feel? It's all about what you know, right? And we already, as far as I'm concerned, most people are aware, hopefully, that the ego is the archive of the past. The ego mind, the logical brain is the archive of the past. Is the intuition that is the unknown. Is something that, well, I don't have a proof for it, but I know what I know, right? So anyway, so this Mercury is making a second trine to Chiron under the influence of its retrograde, because it's going like, okay, we are reevaluating something. This Chiron is in Aries. It's saying like, well, we need to get over this fear, and this wounding that is stopping us from doing different things, trying something different, because, Aries is all about like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just try, like a kid, it doesn't ever stop from like trying new things. There's no touch, like kid is like, okay, let's do it, they not always, especially going to school, they're not always eager, but they go, okay, well, let's do it then. And, and especially if it's fun stuff, they go like, oh yeah, definitely, let's do it, let's try, let's try how this roller coaster goes or something. Unless they traumatize, obviously, and that's where the Chiron comes into play, saying like, because Chiron is the key, it's the key between Saturn and Uranus. Like, okay, how do we go from this manifested reality Saturn, which is retrograde in Pisces, opposing Venus, being squared by Jupiter, all the rest of it, it's all happening, all these T-squares still active. So it's all happening. So this Saturn is this Saturn is like, yeah, this reality is kind of like, it just kind of doesn't have the same meaning as it did 500 years ago. Things are changing over here. Even the way we perceive and experience time has changed. It's not the same. Everything has changed. So now we have this Chiron, the key between Saturn and Uranus. Now Uranus is in Taurus, just about to go retrograde on September 1st, right before Pluto goes to the Capricorn for the last time. So, so this Uranus is like, okay, squaring this full moon in Aquarius, and it's saying like, this is all crisis in consciousness with regards to Sun, Uranus, Moon, Uranus. It's all crisis in consciousness, which is saying, well, something needs to be let go. Something needs to kind of shift in our mind, because this is not crisis in action. It doesn't say you go and do something. That is the other square, the one that we had. Which one was it? The Mars to Saturn, for example, Jupiter to Saturn, these are the crisis in action square, which say like we need to do something. Now, what do we need to do? Mars, Jupiter are in Aries, in Gemini. They say, well, it's all about the way we think, right? Now, this, crisis in consciousness, it's about something that we release internally, so what are we releasing? The old way, that how we think, because we need to think in a different way. So now we have this Chiron, Mercury trying to Chiron number 2, and it's saying like, well, there must be a different way, there must be a different way, because this Uranus just squared this full moon, like I said, we had the two T-squares, because Sun, moon opposition with this Uranus squaring them, one T-square, precipice Uranus, and then the other, was this Venus opposition to Saturn, both squaring from each end this Mars-Jupiter conjunction, that's also a T-square, at the precipice of which we have this Mars and Jupiter, you know. So we go like, okay, well, that there is something that needs to change over here, because, you know, things are not making sense anymore the way they are, and they're not going to make any more sense going forward doing the same thing, right? So we're going to have one more of these trines, and that's going to be on the 7th. Yeah, 7th of September. I believe that is right after America. Oh, sorry, what am I looking at? Wrong page. You know, Mercury retrograde. Okay, that's gonna be on the 2nd, because I'm looking like 7th. Like 7th is the day when Mercury is making a square to Uranus, and of course it is, because you see, apart from the fact that Mercury is making 3 trines to Chiron, Mercury is making 3 squares to Uranus. We had the second one on the 18th, the day before this full moon. The last one will be on the 7th of September. So going back to this Chiron, the final trine between Chiron and Mercury, at least for now, it's on the 2nd of September. Now, what's going on then? You know, what's going on there? Well, Pluto is moving into the sign of Capricorn right before. So Pluto is already in the sign of Capricorn for this final trine. And what's going on right after is the new moon in Virgo. New moon in Virgo, only like few hours after, less than 24 hours. For some of us, it will be on a 2nd. For some of us, on a 3rd. Depends when you are in the world. Either way, the final trine between Mercury and Chiron, Mercury is back, you know, direct, because it's going to station direct at the end of the month, this month. And yeah, and we have Pluto already in the sign of Capricorn, still retrograde. Saturn as the ruler is still retrograde. Neptune as the ruler of Saturn, still retrograde. Everybody retrograde. What does this mean? Well, we need to go inwards. Mercury is making us to go inwards now. Go into your heart, reconnect with your inner child, reconnect with your child wounding, you know, this inner child wounding. Like, what's going on here? Like, you know, what is this foundation of our reality, of our life? You know, and Uranus is bringing it all up to the surface, because Uranus in Taurus squaring this moon, you know, this moon in Aquarius, full moon, that it's saying like, yep, you know, there is this illumination of what it means to be sovereign, and most of us are not experiencing it. You know, so it's say, oh yeah, for me to feel sovereign, to feel free, what do I need? You know, so like, yeah, I want to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, have the money, have my own food, have my own water, have my own internet, you know, have my own resources, whatever it is, have all these people around me I can trust and rely on, and, you know, they think like me, you know, or even if they don't think like me, it's all good, you know, but as long as we get on, and, you know, we know that, okay, well, you have different opinion, never mind, it's all good, because we all want to build towards the same thing, you know, we're heading towards the same thing, like we have the same goal in mind. That's the thing, right? But of course, it does help if you want to create something that the people around you are like-minded, so they want to create the same thing, or, you know, participate in that creation. So anyway, so we have this illumination, you know, this, maybe I should just finish talking, you know, like what else is going on over here. Like, yes, you know, we have this, okay, let me just finish this, and then I go into my little rabbit hole. So we have, so yeah, so as I, you know, started diving in with this Mercury trine to Chiron, and then we're going to close the week, well, you know, Friday night, Saturday morning, moon is moving into the sign of Taurus, and moon will remain the whole weekend, you know, it's not gonna move into the sign of, she's not gonna move, sorry, moon again, moon is not gonna move into the sign of Gemini until Monday. So moon is in the sign of Taurus, again, Taurus, the foundation, yeah, the foundation. What do I need, you know, to thrive in this world, in this Aquarian age, and where do I not have it? So on Saturday, after this, you know, Venus square to Mars, Mercury trine to Chiron. Now, on Saturday, the 24th, Mars in Gemini is going to sextile this Mercury retrograde in Leo. Their last conjunction happened on 27th of January this year, which was right after full moon in Leo, by the way. And this was in the sign of Capricorn. And we might remember that I actually had 2 conjunctions 1 month after each other, not even like 3 weeks apart, because they had a conjunction only a month before in December in the sign of Sagittarius, right after Mercury moved back into the sign of Sagittarius, because Mercury was retrograde in December, you know, remember around Christmas time. And then they had another conjunction in January in the sign of Capricorn, which was like, okay, well, Mercury was reevaluating all these stories at the end of 2023, going on like, oh, I don't know if these stories are working for me, because I'm going to be a ruler of Jupiter next year, and Jupiter's going to expand these stories. So is this really working for us? You know, we entered the year with moon in a sign of Virgo, like, well, there might be a lot of adjustments that's going on, and guess what? We are in Virgo season this week, so I guess the time is now, as after this full moon in Aquarius. So anyway, so the last conjunction was in Capricorn on 17 degrees. Let me quickly imagine what that is. That is a Taurus decan, right? Taurus decan, right? Exactly. We need to become our own authority to create a stronger foundation. We need to believe and trust in ourselves. So yeah, Mercury-Mars conjunction happened in the sign of Capricorn. Now what do we have? We have the first sextile. What is the first sextile? It's the Taurus flavor. It's the Taurus flavor. So again, we can see how the astrology is building up on each other. Oh yeah, let's get together again, Mercury and Mars, make the first so-called major aspect, like a sextile, and it's gonna be a Taurus Taurus flavor sextile in the sign of Leo for Mercury, and Mars in the sign of Gemini, which is all about the choice, ruled by Mercury. And Mercury in Leo is all about the heart. So what are we choosing? What are we choosing? And on the same day, Mars, also in Gemini, still Mars is not going anywhere just yet, is making a sextile to Chiron retrograde in Aries. Now Chiron is ruled by Mars because Chiron is in Aries. And their last conjunction, and this is interesting, this is very interesting, their last conjunction happened on May 29th, which was right after the full moon in Sagittarius, right? And right before, it was bang in the middle. Right after the full moon in Sagittarius and before new moon in Gemini, ruled by Jupiter and Mercury, that are now... Mercury is the ruler of Jupiter, right? Because at this time, actually, Jupiter was already in a sign of Gemini. So the most interesting thing about this, when they last conjunct, Mars and Chiron, actually is not even the lunations, it's the fact that the day later, on the 30th of May, Mercury conjuncted Uranus. So this is the most important thing. So again, let me recap. Mars is making a sextile to Mercury. Okay, this is a Taurus sextile, Taurus flavor, which is about creating a new foundation. Mars is making also a sextile to Chiron. With regards to Mars and Chiron, this is also, let me just quickly think in my head where they are positioned. Yes, this is also a Taurus sextile, also the first sextile, which is, with regards to lunation, this is the waxing crescent, the building up of the form, right? When we're putting down the roots and making the roots strong so the tree can grow tall and strong, yeah? So Mercury, as the ruler of, Mars, and Mars is the ruler of Chiron, and like I said, this is the flavor of Taurus. Mercury had his last conjunction with Uranus in the sign of Taurus on the 30th of May, which was right after this Mars Chiron conjunction. So isn't this interesting? And actually, yeah, the Taurus degree was 24 degrees 8 minutes, which is the Capricorn decan. I mean, come on, come on. And the last time Mars and Mercury conjunct was in the sign of Capricorn. So, okay, so that's it for this week. So let me just go dive into the rabbit hole for a few minutes and then we go to the cards. Because this is just fascinating to me. Because we have this big kick-ass, literally, kick-arsed full moon, supermoon, aka supermoon, which is, very close to the earth, that makes it very, very felt to us, like, no kidding, everybody can feel this. And it was squared by Uranus, its own ruler, while the traditional ruler, Saturn, was also a part of the T-square, not of the same one, but also part of the T-square in opposition with Venus exact. Venus is the ruler of the South Node, Saturn is the ruler of Pluto since 2008. At the moment not, because at the moment Pluto is still in Aquarius, but it will become, Saturn will become the ruler of Pluto again, only a few days actually, not so long from now. So, apart from that, and the square that followed, the Jupiter to Saturn square right after the lunation, we have mostly supportive aspects this week. And once again, we can see that majority of them are sextiles, we have this Mercury trine to Chiron, which is a Leo kind of flavor, yeah, because Chiron is in Aries, Leo flavor, which is about, again, this self-actualization, authenticity, creativity, like tapping into our joy and childlike innocence and all the rest of it. But all these other things are sextiles that are Taurus flavor, and they are reminding us of the conjunction between Mercury and Uranus that took place in Taurus on Capricorn decan, and the conjunction that last happened between Mars and Mercury that was in a sign of Capricorn in the Taurus decan. So isn't that interesting? So technically, what's going on here? Let me just tune in. So like I started saying, and this is nothing new. I already spoken about this before with regards to this foundation. So what really is happening now, with this huge illumination that we had, and what I started saying, that, we are all reminded of what sovereignty means to you, what freedom means to you, because it's a big Earth full moon that says like, okay, well, there is an illumination of what does this mean, but what majority of us experienced, especially because of all these squares, it's the lack of that. Like, where do I not feel that I have that? Where do I not feel sovereign? Where do I not feel I have the resources I need to feel sovereign, or to feel free, or to feel, whatever it is, like just able to do whatever I want, or whatever I need, or whatever I require to have my needs met in this, in this human body, through this journey called life on planet Earth in, 21st century, in Aquarian age. So that's why we have all these squares, because apart from this Uranus T-square, where there was the crisis in consciousness thing going on, which is saying about this culmination, and now we know Uranus is, it's out there, it's the evolutionary planet, it's not the personal planet. It's saying, okay, something has to click somewhere in our head, like it's actually not even, necessarily connected to our brain, but it's something has to click over here, which is saying that, okay, you know what? The way that we've been doing life until this point, it held its meaning 100%. Let's not just damn it all, but it's not gonna work going forward. It's not gonna work because we just had this full moon that illuminated to us, and a majority of us felt, okay, I don't quite have this yet. I feel a little bit maybe vulnerable, with all these Chiron activations, like I feel a little bit vulnerable. Like, how can I go in this new direction when, I don't know, for example, I don't have the money, or I don't have the, sense that I have a choice, because I have A, B, C, D responsibilities, and I feel stuck in my life or situation, and, I want to be a good person, and I don't want to let other people down, the South Node in Libra, or what will the neighbors say if I do this, or if I say this, or if I act like this, or if I now start believing something different, So I feel that this is very likely what a lot of people might have been experiencing, that we are becoming very aware of where we feel vulnerable, where, our inner child, because it is still Leo season for, the next 2 days. It is still Leo season after all, even though it is culminating, which is now coming to it's Aries Deacon. It's Aries Deacon, which is again saying us like, okay, there is this new way, there is this new Aries, anything is about new beginning, a new cycle, and there is no coincidence that moon is in the sign of Aries when sun moves into the sign of Virgo, and we started the year with moon in the sign of Virgo. I mean, there is no coincidence, right? There is no coincidence. Nothing is accident. These numbers, they're not accident. These deacons, they are not accident. These dates and how things are happening, like why would Mars be sextile in Mercury while Mars is in a sign of Gemini and Mercury is retrograde in Leo, and on the same day Mars will be sextile in Chiron retrograde too, and Chiron is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the rule of the North Node, and Mercury is the rule of Jupiter. That is the expansion of consciousness and the story. And one of the last times Mercury and Mars met was in a sign of Sagittarius, right? So, I mean, there is no coincidence. These things, they don't happen by accident, so that's what I mean, which, now I'm going completely on a different bunny trail. But, well, people say they don't believe, they don't believe in astrology, they don't believe in any of this woo-woo. I mean... how could anybody make this up? Like these positions, these numbers to generate the energy that we are all experiencing. I mean, in one way or another, obviously, I don't know how this is showing up for other people. I only know how it's showing up for me because I'm only living my life, but we are all feeling this, even it's what's going on, in the world, which I don't know much about, me and politics and, mainstream media. I unsubscribe, but doesn't mean that I'm completely ignorant and don't know nothing, but I know I tap into the energy, I understand the energy. So like we all feel this this like, insecurity, the foundation is a little bit shaken up, rocky, like, I don't know, like what's gonna happen going forward, like, will I have enough resources? Will the world provide for me? Will I be able to have my needs met? Will I be able to do what matters to me? Blah, 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 all these things. This is all coming up like literally now, with this full moon in Aquarius, all these squares that's been present and now coming into these sextiles. And all these sextiles, they already happening in a Virgo season, these sextiles we're talking about, Mars to Mercury, Mars to Chiron. This is all happening already in Virgo season. Also ruled by Mercury, right? Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So this is saying like, okay, now we had this big Earth moon that illuminated to us all these things, it illuminated us all these, like, where do I feel vulnerable? And, like I said, apart from Uranus to Sun and Moon to Uranus, everything else, as far as I remember correctly, everything is crisis in action. So it says something has to change, something has to give. Something has to give. It cannot keep going this way, because even like, I think I was covering this in my practical application of astrology when I said, like, our body, it's not designed to live under this amount of stress and pressure all the time. This is not what we build up to exist like, this is not normal, like this sympathetic nervous system, which is this flight, fright, like whatever, like, there is a tiger going to attack me. This is not supposed to be activated 24/7. And this is why so many people struggle with chronic diseases, and why so many people now have cancer and all the rest of it. Like, yes, of course, there are other factors as well, absolutely. But the main factor is stress. Because the body, even like cancer cells, cancer cells is just cells going crazy, like they just don't know what they're doing anymore. They're going like, like I lost the GPS, I lost the connection, so they start behaving in a weird way, right? And I mean, again, I'm not the medical staff, so don't quote me on that. This is just my understanding of things, that the cells just go a little bit like crazy, that they don't do what they normally do. So they start behaving in an abnormal way, right? Abnormal growth, abnormal cells, abnormal, something is not normal, abnormal. And why is this? Because our life is not normal. The way we are living life on this planet, we are not designed to live under this amount of stress and pressure and worry and fear and all this stuff, and this Aquarius full moon is illuminating exactly that, because full moon in Aquarius, and it was the first full moon in Aquarius with Pluto in Aquarius, first one in our lifetime, like we have more, we're gonna have many more, but this is the first one, because last year, the full moon in Aquarius, Pluto was still in Capricorn. So this year, 2024, already the new moon in Aquarius, we had Pluto in Aquarius, now we still have Pluto in Aquarius, just about moving into the sign of Capricorn. This was the last lunation with Pluto in Aquarius. We're not going to have, I believe, let me calculate, the next lunation with Pluto in Aquarius will be a new moon in Sagittarius on December 1st. So all these lunations between now and then, including the upcoming new moon in Virgo, Pluto will be in a sign of Capricorn. So this is all the Virgo season and Scorpio season, earth and water. What happens with earth and water? It's the the energy of like when you do like when I was learning tarot, and my teacher said when you have the the pentacles, like I believe it was the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups, it can represent pregnancy. Well, depends what are the cards you have going on there, but it's the earth and water, it's just like it brings something to life, So what are we bringing to life? We are bringing to life this new perception, this new concept that is birthed from this shock, of having so many things going on in the world or in our personal life, including my own, where we are being shown by the universe where we are living on a very unstable ground, where our life is actually not built on a solid foundation, where we need to become more aware with regards to where am I vulnerable and where am I depending on people, structure, system, or whatever that which makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable to the degree that I depend on these, because like I said in few videos ago, I think it was one of the videos I recorded in Nature, when I said that do these fill the blank people, structures, systems, whatever, do they have my best interest as a part of their best interest, right? Or not, right? So this is this Aquarius, because Aquarius is about network, but it's also about decentralization. So it's saying just the fact that there is a small amount of people that own the entire world, right? This is not very decentralized, is it, right? So we have, and like just from my personal experiences, what I've been experiencing, like trying to, like just trying to get certain things that are connected to the system, and because I don't comply, I don't obey, and I don't live by the system, I am not fully plugged into the matrix anymore. I'm still plugged just like everyone else, but not to the degree some of the people are plugged. I am not entitled to these things. I am not entitled to, certain things that other people are entitled to, if they need help or support or whatever, because I don't comply. Because as far as the system is concerned, it's like, oh no, she's too much of a wild card. We don't, no thanks. We cannot rely on her staying plugged in. Like no, she's not getting nothing. So this is what I mean. Because the entire system that currently we are part of, it is like an octopus. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that owns everything, and everything is connected to this one thing, right? And this is not decentralized. This is not Aquarius. This is not the nature of the times we are stepping into. So the full moon in Aquarius is illuminating to us these vulnerabilities that are connected to decentralization, right? And it's saying that, okay, well, we need to start because with the Aquarius, it's also about pattern recognition. People with Mercury in Aquarius, they're very good, or Mercury in the 11th house, very good with pattern recognition. They understand, they can put the dots together very quickly. They can, reminds me of something that happened before, and they go, blah, 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 and then they understand what's going on there. Mercury in Aquarius people, they can connect. I'm not saying other people can't, but I'm saying they especially, they can connect dots very quickly, something amiss over here, right? So with all these Aquarius, energy that got activated for us, and all these squares that are happening, and now we have this okay, let's take a breath now, because we had this shock, this full moon in Aquarius with all these squares, like people were holding on their breath, like, oh, all this. And I mean, I don't watch any other astrologers, so I don't know, and I don't want to know what other astrologers were saying about the full moon in Aquarius, but my understanding from other people I follow that are not astrologers said that there has been a lot of fear mongering with regards to this full moon in Aquarius. So imagine when people are in shock, or when we have some kind of trauma, including myself, I'm a shallow breather. I don't breathe properly, and I'm very well aware of that. I'm trying to be more conscious of it, especially when I'm not talking. So when people are under a lot of stress, they shallow breathe. They don't take a proper breath, So like even now with this full moon in Aquarius, I feel that humanity as a collective consciousness was holding their breath, like what's gonna happen, we hold in our breath. So now we already had the full moon in Aquarius yesterday. That the effect is still there. We can see the squares are still completing. We still have this the Jupiter Saturn already happened, but we have this Venus square to Mars that's not yet happened. That's happening on Friday, right? Friday. So it's not all totally like everything already happened between these T-squares. The T-square between Sun, Moon, and Uranus that disintegrated, because obviously Moon already moved into the sign of Pisces. But the other square is still there, the other T-square with Mars and Jupiter at the precipice, it's still there. So anyway, so it feels to me that this week, especially, Sun is, we have this Sun moving to the sign of Virgo, right? And then we have this one more square with Venus and Mars, but then we have this trine to Chiron and this sextile, Mars to Mercury and Mars to Chiron. So this is like an opportunity for us to now breathe again, okay? Because, like, yes, whatever happened, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. There are certain things you have no control over because they are part of the collective agreement, the contracts that we all sign on before we incarnate, as a part of the collective consciousness, as a part of the human collective in 21st century and stuff like that. But there are a lot of things we can control. So I feel with this Virgo, stepping into Virgo season, post Aquarius full moon, with all this stuff that was present for it, that illuminated to us all these, wounding, vulnerabilities, things that are frozen in time, that all come from our childhood, that then go back to ancestors and their childhood, and where they felt threatened and they felt unsafe, and they had to create coping mechanism and shut down and, fragment and reject aspects of themselves because it was not safe to be thus and whatever. This is all coming up. All of it is coming up. I mean, Saturn is in Pisces, it's like all this ancestor wounding, everything is coming up. So now we have this Virgo season, right, kicking off from Thursday onwards for a month. And Virgo is all Virgo Pisces, these two archetypes are all about healing, they about adjustment and healing, because the way we are living as a humanity, apart from the fact that it's completely unsustainable, but it is not possible to keep living like this under this amount of stress and fear. And I even, one of the spiritual teachers I follow, and Amanda Ellis, she made a video based on a comment that somebody put onto her social media, and this is like, I'm just borrowing, as an example, for example's sake, but yeah, there was, my spiritual, one of the spiritual teachers I follow, Amanda Ellis, Angelic Celestial Colors, the second to her most recent video, I believe it was, or 2 or 3 videos back, she created a video based on a comment that a person wrote on her social media about how this person lost everything. They lost their job, they lost their home, they lost their practice, they lost their whatever, they lost everything, because our life is built on a very shaky ground, and the person was saying that, if nothing changes, like, this person was going to be homeless in like 2 weeks or something. So anyway, I'm not gonna go any further because it's not my story to say, and I'm just borrowing it for example's sake. However, how many people are in a different position? And this doesn't diminish the suffering of this person and what they're going through, but this is an example to all of us, this full moon in Aquarius, illumination, how vulnerable we are as humans living in this time and age, the way we are living it, where we all depending on, well, not all, but majority of people are depending on their regular paycheck to survive. And if this paycheck doesn't come for whatever reason, either I get fired, I'm sick, or whatever happens, I have an accident, or whatever happens, and the check doesn't come, or it doesn't come in the, in the amount that I'm used to, how much time do I have until I'll be homeless, or you, or someone else? I mean, this is what I mean. And how many people have massive amount of savings because of the the way we live in our life at the moment, and the cost of living in most places. How many people can say like, oh yeah, if I lose my job and everything, I'm good for next year, I'm fine, I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry, I have plenty savings, How many people can say that? So this is what I mean. This is one of the aspects of this Aquarius full moon, that it's saying like, well, how stable is our life? How stable is our reality? And at the same time, we're burning candle at each end because we're working like slaves. Most people are working like slaves, around the clock, continuously being tired, continuously being exhausted, never even having time to take a break, right? Because I need to make the money, I need to make the paycheck to just sustain my life, this crazy life that, most people don't even want in the shape and form they have it. And then at the same time, I'm constantly under stress, most people constantly under stress. So I'm burning candle at each aim. I'm pushing my body to do something I don't actually want to do, but at the same time, my body is under stress while it has to be doing that. And then bang, like chronic disease or, whatever disease, or whatever, because the body say no. And there is actually a book that Dr. Gabor Mate wrote about this stuff, and he literally named the book When the Body Says No. And literally this is what's happening. How much longer will it take until we say no? And yeah, they must say, well, that is all great, but what do we do then? And I'm like, again, I don't have the answers. I'm on the same boat. I'm going through the same things, when I'm experiencing and becoming aware of my own vulnerabilities and going like, oh yeah, man, that could be me in 2 months, that could be me, homeless person with a bunch of tarot cards, and whatever. That could be any of us. But how is it possible we're living in a world where this is the case? That this is crazy, and this is what I mean. Aquarius full moon. How many of us feel free and sovereign? And I mean, yes, some more than others. Most people look at my life and they say, well, good for you, you travel around the world and whatever. Well, not exactly. That's what it looks like from the other side. But, yes, I try to make choices in my life that are more in alignment with my needs and values, because I rather not be here. If I have to go back to Matrix and be plugged in and live that way, I'd rather check out. I'd rather not be here. Like literally, and it's like there is a reason why I created the setup of my life, which again is a trauma response and it's not exactly working either. It's not like perfection of being alive, but like I don't want no dependence, because if I cannot live my life the way that allows me to a certain extent to feel sovereign and like I have a choice, I'd rather not be here. I unsubscribe, and I'm not saying be like me, absolutely not. I'm just saying that there is a hard boundary how far I can be pushed. But how many people move that boundary so far away that they can't even see it no more? And there's the Saturn in Pisces going retrograde to remind us, where is your hard boundary? Where is the hard stop where you say, I am not able to do anymore, or I am not able to go any further, I am not able to do this, I will not do this to myself. And that is the Uranus in Taurus, shaking up our foundation and going, like, how strong is your foundation? How much you able to stand on your 2 feet if the things around us are not allowing for that to be so easy, And this is why the new system has to and is being created as we speak, because a lot of people are, I'm not saying like me, but a lot of people got to the point of that hard boundary where they said, I am not going past this point. This is as far as I go. And then I unsubscribe. That's it. And this is how the new system is going to be, because this is the thing, people expect this new earth golden age to just be here tomorrow. I go to sleep, I wake up, and ta-da, golden age, everybody is happy, like it's all amazing, like this is what most people expect. And and they are frustrated, like Aquarian age, all this psychic, all these channelers, they saying about these things that are meant to be, coming to fruition, like how the world is meant to become this something completely different. Where is it? And how is it going to happen? But, like I said, the energy cannot be destroyed. We have to transmute the energy we have at the moment, because that's what we have, right? Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in a different dimension, but we need to bridge the gap between the two. However, and now I completely lost my train of thought, which is very normal, unfortunately, during the Mercury retrograde. Okay, Spirit, help me where I was going with this mess. Anyway, this is technically what it is. It's just like we are just, oh yeah, thank you. It's about the change happens under the pressure, the pearl, just like Richard Rad is talking about in the Not Human Design, Gene Keys. The pearl, it's built under pressure, the pearl, we need to finesse, we finesse our abilities, our life, our tools. And how we do that? We go through the challenges, yeah? So, whether it's a diamond, whether it's a pearl, whether it's anything, all these precious things, they are made under pressure, so this is exactly, this full moon in Aquarius, this huge illumination of what it is and isn't, and us becoming consciously aware with all these retrogrades, including Mercury, and at the time already back in Leo, our heart, where this inner child is going into panic attack and having a shock and going like, how the hell am I going to survive? How are you going to take care of me? Like your inner child, your heart, like, this is where we have the panic, where do you think it's coming from? It's coming from the inner child where you say, how will I take care? How will you take care of me? Like how will we get through this? And it takes us back to Taurus. What is the foundation of my life? And do I believe in myself? Do I trust myself? And then it goes the sextile to Pisces. Well, we are all part of one. You're not supposed to figure it out on your own. There is a help available, but how many of us believe that? Which goes back to Gemini. Well, we all have a choice, and we know the way we existed and lived in this world before this point, it is not sustainable. It is not going to take us any further. And this is why we have the squares, which are saying, under the pressure. The change happens under the pressure. Nobody knows the answers because Mercury, as the ruler of Jupiter, is retrograde in Leo. It's saying you need to tap into your heart, it's like, it's not like fully formed over there. It's not Capricorn. But at the same time, Jupiter is going to be retrograde, not yet, but it's going to be retrograde. He's still just about to, he's still preparing for that. But Jupiter being in Gemini is all about the choice, it's all about the choice. So anyway, so what choice are we going to make? And with all these squares, like there is so much pressure that we will have to make some kind of choice one way or another, because we need to release the pressure. But we have these sextiles, Mars in Gemini, choice, sextiling, Leo, Mercury in Leo and Chiron in Aries, both retrograde, sextiling. It's saying like, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board, back to beginning and say like, okay, well, what do I do? What do I do? It's not about what do you do or what will she do or he do. Like, they can tell you what they're gonna do, but you need to decide for yourself. This is Aquarian age. This is individuation and authenticity, because what works for someone else, and man, I can tell you how much unsolicited advice I received without asking for it. And I'm like, well, just because it works for you, it doesn't mean it's gonna work for me. Thank you very much for the advice, but it needs to go through your own and my own and everybody's own inner discernment, inner processing, and go like, how does it feel for you? Does it make you feel inspired? Does it make you feel motivated? Does it feel aligned in your body or not? And this is how we fine tune in our superpowers, our superpowers, because we are divine after all, and learning to tap in and start perceiving reality differently. Like, I hear all of this, but how does it feel? And does it resonate? And does it make me feel inspired? Or is it the right time? Because it all could be right, like, but it might not be the right time. Because if the body goes into shock and say like, oh no, I cannot put any more on my plate, I'm already juggling too many things, I think I'm going to collapse, then maybe it's not the right time. So, with the Virgo season kicking off, in the after effects of the Aquarius full moon, there is a lot of adjustments that we are going to be experiencing throughout this Virgo season, because, we are less than a month away from the eclipses. So technically, the first eclipse is still happening at the end of Virgo season. It is not going to be Libra season. Yes, the equinox is after the eclipse. So, and that will be a big fat illumination in Pisces. It will be the first lunar eclipse in Pisces, in conjunction with Neptune. So this is what I mean. And it's not funny. It's absolutely not funny. I mean, I've had my share of panic attacks in the past week, trust me. So, but this is the only way. This is the only way to break free. This is why so many people don't understand and question when I say Aquarius or Uranus, to be more exact, rules trauma. And people, that doesn't make sense. We thought Aquarius, Uranus is all about liberation. Once we liberate from the trauma and the past conditioning which we put on our plate before we incarnate, because of the families and the cultures and religion orientation and everything that we were born into, that carries the unresolved stuff from all the previous times. And then it lands on your plate and it's okay, what you gonna do with it? Because we tried, and then the next generation tries again, and this is how it goes. So the liberation does come from us breaking free from the pattern that has been passed on from generation to generation and creating the same trauma, so this is how it goes. Unfortunately, there is no other way. So anyway, guys, let's almost hour of talking, like, come on, spirit. But thank you. Let's see what we can pull from these cards, because we don't have that much time, because these videos are just getting too long and people don't have time because life is busy. So let's see. Okay, let's just ask the energy oracle from Sandra and Taylor. Let's see what's going on there with the energy oracle. Okay, spirit, please give us some guidance through the cards. Thank you. Okay, let's see what the energy oracle wants to tell us. Oh, okay. Door to spirit. I mean, no kidding. Didn't we have this card before? Look at the dove, Dove, the doorway to spirit. And it's 32, number 5. Yes, absolutely. The Uranus, number 5. Yes, the Uranus. And at the bottom of the deck is what? Angel of Balance, upside down. It was upside down, 48. Oh yeah, we can see that. Oh, and look, the pyramids. Yes, because we are not using our true technology, our true abilities that are available to us, and life became out of balance because we only focusing. And look at the lamp. She's holding a lamp, a blue lamp. Blue, throat chakra, self-expression, but also intuition. And you can see she's got like activation in her crown chakra. So yeah, so this is the thing, this is the thing. We're not really following the right guidance, right? 48, 4, Saturn. What is the foundation? 8. Do we have the courage to break free from the foundation? Because the 2 together are 12. And this looks just like hanged man, right? We need to shift perspective, perception in order to grow, because 1 and 2 is free. Jupiter, right? In Gemini. And what do we have? These activations from Gemini. Mars to Mercury retrograde and Chiron retrograde. So, very, very interesting. I'm not even going to use book. I'm just going to trust my own intuition. But yeah, look at that. This is literally what we have. The spirit is trying to get through to us, but it's not going to happen easily. It's happening through chaos and change and this pressure. Because how else, otherwise we just stuck in our comfort zone and go like, meh, it's not bad, but it still works. It's okay. So the spirit is saying like, no, Aquarian age, no, things have to change. So we are becoming very aware of what doesn't work, because we're not listening to the right guidance. There is this ancient wisdom that is available to us, but we're just focusing on the logic, right? On the educational system. Then again, who owns it, right? That's where I'm gonna leave it. Okay, let's move to the next one and see. I'm going to use the booklet when I feel that I need the guidance from the booklet, but actually I'm going to trust my own intuition. Okay, this is the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms from Colette Baron Reid. So let's see, because these sometimes come upside down as well. Okay, build up on these messages that we just received from the energies. What is the wisdom of the hidden realms that we need to be aware of? Okay, let's see. The Metal Kim, discipline, armor, boundaries. Oh yeah, boundaries. How far did we move our boundaries? How far did we move them that we lost them? There are no boundaries. We need to reestablish new boundaries. 37. Number 10, endings and new beginnings. The Metal King. Okay, I might need the help with that one. Let's see what's at the bottom. Eyes of Beauty, Positive Expectations, Clarity, 25. Again, number 7. Neptune. Beauty. Eyes of the Beauty. Looking at life through different perspective. Because when we see, when we believe in ugliness, all we see is the ugliness. When we focus on the beauty and vision the things we want to see, we will see more of them. Just like when people say like, oh, people are bad, you know, world is bad, you know, stuff like that. And then all we experience is exactly that, right? But when we actually believe, no, people are inherently good, there is a lot of good in the world, a lot of people have a good heart, you know, they mean well, they have a good intention and stuff, then that's what we're going to experience more of. The eyes of beauty. But let me just ask this Metal King, because I'm curious about what the Metal King wants to say. So let's see, the Metal King, that's the 37. Okay, discipline, armor, boundaries. The Metal King is strong and arrives to lend you his impenetrable shield of protection. No matter who sends you criticism or jealousy, you will not be hurt. This ally also prompts you to think about setting healthy boundaries. When you do, no matter how uncomfortable the task might be, everyone will benefit. He asks you to make sure you know where you end and another begins. Exactly. Others' emotions are not yours, no matter how empathetic you may be. Another of the Metal King's messages is to remind you how important it is to have a healthy sense of self-esteem. It's good time to shine and be proud of what you have accomplished. Exactly. Yeah, have your hard limit. Obviously, you know, boundaries, you know, can be always moved one way or another, but have your hard limits. Like, I cannot go past this line, you know, and this is very important, because the people that push you are your teachers to help you understand where it is. Just like with this full moon in Aquarius, we were being shown where is the boundary. Okay, let's ask this one. I might have to use the deck, because this one is very ethereal. This is the Verkiolite from Rebecca Campbell. Let me just get my thingy ready. Oh no, I have one more here. Where is my... Oh, here it is. Okay, Rebecca Campbell, the Verkiolite. Okay, what is the message, Spirit, please? Okay, let's see. Verkiolite, how can you support yourself? There was a flipper, but it was too many. One card, please, Spirit. Okay, 2 wants to come out. Share your voice. Come out of the cave. Persecution, expression. Okay. Oh, look. And oh my God. Again, the pyramids. Look at that. That is crazy. Look at that. Pyramids. You see? And that's like a black and white. There's a person sitting in a cave. You see? Just like this one. Look at that. Yeah? The pyramids. And then we have the crumbling. What are you clinging on to? Oh my God, it looks like a tower. But look at the portal. Oh my God, that looks exactly like the card that I pulled last week from the portal, from the activation, the light activation, gateway of the light activation oracle from Carl Gray, the portal one that I use. This literally, it looks exactly like that. The card that came out for the full moon in Aquarius, just like that. You know, look at all this stormy weather, flash of lightnings. This is just like Uranus, you know. And here is, once the tower crumbles, there is an opening. You see, there is an opening that leads to a completely different life. And look at that. Look at the connection to cosmos. You know, that's also us reconnecting with our origins. You know, like, because we're not who we were told we are. This is not who we are. We are much more beyond that. And we are awakening to the understanding that there is much more than we were being told to believe there is. And yes, share your voice came out of cave. We remember this, the persecution also from the ancient times. You know, but there is all this inherent wisdom in each and every single one of us that is available to us. The wisdom to guide us forward. And also look at all that water, the body of water, the emotion. Connect with your emotion and share your voice. And the being is like, you see, she's clothed like the night sky. You know, in all this purple, the divine. And then at the bottom, Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. We had this card before. Yeah, Pleiades, because they are especially oriented onto healing. Yeah, Pleiades. So, okay, so I understand. So the tower is crumbling, so people start speaking up. People start speaking up and expressing themselves because there is this big body of water, of emotion to get from where you are to where you want to be. You know, this wisdom, this ascension, the being able to tap into the tools and the inherited wisdom from the ancient times. We need to be able to bridge the gap, speak up, you know, share how you feel, share your voice, your authentic expression, to be able to unlock the key, Chiron, the key, unlock the potential, the everything that's already within you, it already is within you. So this is why this is happening, for us to get to this. It's so amazing. Yeah. And yeah, the Pleiades, double mission channeling and uplifting humanity. Yeah, Pleiades are present. Pleiadians, the healing of humanity. Because we are all in this together, nobody is separate. Whatever happens on Earth impacts the entire universe. It's not like, oh yeah, you know, who cares about Earth? Who cares about us? You know, these beings in this higher dimension. Why would they care? Well, of course they care, because whatever happens here, you know, impacts everything. Because because we are all interconnected. I mean, come on. And how many of us came from here? You know, from Pleiades, and are present, incarnate on a planet, especially people who feel like the need to heal the humanity, the need to help, the need to support, you know, this is very Pleiadian quality, you know, the healing, right? So yeah, a lot of healers are stepping up, you know, because there is the memory of that persecution from the past. But now this crumbling of the system, and I'm getting goosebumps, so Spirit is like, okay, you finally get in there. This crumbling of the system, you know, these struggles that we will be experiencing are making people to come out of hiding and step up and do what they came here to do, step into their purpose to help to support humanity in ascension. In ascension. Okay. Okay, actually, which one should we, do I need to read any of them, Spirit? Let's try the crumbling. Let's do the crumbling, because I think it's the center message. So for people to understand why this is happening and why it has to take place. Okay. There are like different etaps. Okay, let's see, where is the crumbling? Oh, it's the inquiry card. Inquiry, yeah, what you inquiring about? Okay, and it came up straight away. So the crumbling, let's see. What are you clinging on to? There is a shift happening right now where anything inauthentic can no longer survive. Relationship, jobs, social structures, anything built on shaky ground is destined to tumble down. It's happening to bring you back home to who you truly are. Who you truly are. I mean, yes, who you truly are, both individually and the society as a whole, so you can live a life that is in alignment with who you truly are. When you are in the thick of it, can feel like a personal attack from the universe. Have faith, because the difficult times will be your defining moments. You will be reborn in the fire, and you are being called to surrender, to stop trying to hold it all together, to loosen your grip, to let the crumbling occur. It might be difficult at first, but in the end, the sooner you let go, the sooner the rebirthing will occur. What are you trying to hold together? What are you doing your best to avoid? How are you trying to pretend everything is okay? You have what it takes to allow what is falling away to tumble and fall. Once the tower has crumbled, you will be able to rebuild your home on solid ground with mighty foundations and view that is so magnificent that it will take your breath away each new morning. Kali, this is my favorite. Kali, the goddess of destruction, and the Black Madonna, Lilith, right, are with you now. Lay it all on their altar. They can hold it all. Work your light inquiry. What are you clinging to for the fear of nothing coming to take its place? Yeah. Okay, let's just read this one more and then we move on, because the time is running away. Share your voice. Let's see if it's in the same thing. No, it isn't. No. Okay, let's see. Where is your share your voice? Which one is it? Action cards, 76. Okay, because these two came together. The 76, the Pleiades were at the bottom. So we know behind all of that is the Pleiades. 79. Share your voice. Here we go. So that's this one in a cave. You are being called to share your voice, perhaps by speaking up in a relationship or through writing, speaking, singing, or some other form of creative expression. We each hold a truth deep within us that longs to be expressed. Sculpted for lifetimes, the voice of your soul is like no other. It carries with it wisdom that can only be gained through soul history and growth. By remembering, tapping into, and expressing the unique tone, we not only heal ourselves, we also heal the planet at large. When you share your voice, you unlock something in the universe and call a missing piece of your home. Your individual voice is the most powerful sound current on the planet. If you have kept your soul silenced, your soul's voice silenced or held back, chanting or singing could be truly life-changing for you. As we shed the layers of our personality and start letting our unique soul speak through us, we discover that we actually have a very clear message that longs to be shared. The more we speak it, the clearer it gets. There has never been a better time in history than right now to rise up, speak your truth, and share your soul's voice. If you feel fearful, know that you are not alone and that the world needs your unique tone in order to harmonize. As we each rise up and share our song, we make it easier for the next person to do the same. And work your light activation, express yourself, share your voice, speak to those who can hear you. Okay, almost 11:11. Okay, I'm going to pull one card from here. This is the Sufi's Wisdom Oracle, because we're going to close with a wise message, you know, like it said, speak your voice, and now it's like, okay, let's see what the Sufi wants to share. What is the wisdom, the final message, please? Thank you. Okay, Sufi's Wisdom. Please, just one card, Spirit. Okay. Finding the path, and at the bottom, limitation is power. Lean into your limitations. So this is at the bottom, but we're going to read this, finding the path. You are the driver and the navigator. Yeah. You are the driver and the navigator of your life. Okay. Let's read this message and we end with that. Finding your path. Yeah, here. Okay, look at that, you know. It is unique to you, whatever that looks like. You are the driver and the navigator, doing as others told me I was blind, coming when others called me I was lost. Then I left everyone, including myself. Then I found everyone, including myself. Rumi. In the face of a challenging decision, you might feel paralyzed and not know what to do. It may be fear that keeps you from finding your way, or stress may block your ability to seek higher guidance. You may doubt your own ability and question the wisdom of your relentless mind. Rumi comes with a message for you to guard against others trying to influence you. By staying centered in your heart, you can align with your deeper essence. This can be a magical moment to take a step toward creating the life that is right for you. The heart seeks solutions through love and opens the mystery of divine perception. You learn to trust a wisdom that is already yours. If you turn to your rational mind, you will be relying on a resource of limited vision. Yeah, and at the bottom we have limitation. Limitation is power. Okay, so dear one, your deeper instincts are often the right ones. You can rise above your doubts and uncertainty by learning to trust your heart. It is wise not to become too attached to the outcome. Make a choice and stand by it. Taking a risk is part of life and a part of the human condition. Accept the consequences. You know you have the ability to face them. The important thing is not to betray your commitment to your own growth and sense of well-being. And the mantra is, I am honoring and affirming my life by making a serious commitment to be the best person I can be. I will trust my heart to guide me in making my decisions. Okay, and final major arcana to close. Major arcana to close this session. Please, Spirit. Final card. Oh, okay, it's all falling apart. Okay, let's see. Tower. Yeah, we already had one here. Tower, you know, things are falling apart so they can be rebuilt anew. And at the bottom is the Emperor, exactly. You know, the reality we are experiencing is standing on shaky grounds now. So it will have to be rebuilt. And then we have the Emperor, the new stability, number 4. New beginning, Aries, but as I keep saying, to me, this is the Mars in Capricorn. Becoming your own emperor, the new reality, because this is the reality we created unconsciously, you know, because we thought we didn't have the strength to make our own choices, right, because of the conditioning. And this emperor is saying that, no, you have to become your own authority to create the reality that you want to be experiencing. The red, the color of creation, finding the path. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because, you know, this is the low vibration of Virgo, the desire for perfection. So we don't even try because, oh my God, what if I fail? What if it's not perfect? But remember the wisdom inside you, that at the moment we're not listening to. This is why the world is out of balance. The spirit door open, and remember to put the boundaries and focus on the beauty that you want to create. Okay, guys, I leave it at that. Again, much longer than I wanted to, but Spirit had a lot to say. So I would like to close this session. I would like to thank to all my guides, my higher self, my ancestors, all the angels present, and all the beings of light. Also our starseed family, ladies, that wanted to be acknowledged in this video, because they are here to help and support us in our path forward to create a new reality for all of us. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Once again, I hope that there was something of a value in this video. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe to support my work. And I wish you all a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll speak to you again next time. Much love everyone, and bye for now.